First of all, I think it's really important that you remember that you're talking to a human being and not some machine. And that also your conversation sound like you talk to a human being. So be genuine. Write a real text message. Don't just send automated messages to people. Be thoughtful with your content. Think about what you share, how you share, and also make sure that if you share anybody else's content, that it's well researched and balanced. Follow up respectfully. Now, this is something I see a lot. If I don't get a response from someone, I tend to not follow up anymore unless it's something really urgent. What I don't like is that if I respond to one question, I get another question right away. So, think about this. Someone who's really busy and has a job working, for example, as a coach or consultant, their time is valuable. So if you keep them busy for the whole time, and if you think they can only respond to your questions, that is a little bit selfish. So first of all, I think a relationship has to be balanced, at least balanced. If not, you should maybe think about giving more than you take. And then also, if somebody asked you a question and told you, to go and read a document before asking other questions. So, you're not just going on LinkedIn once a month. You're on LinkedIn also like every day when you look for a job. And staying active also means commenting on other people's content, giving relevant insights into the content that they shared with you. There is a tracker on LinkedIn that you can use, the weekly sharing tracker. I find that quite helpful to see, if you're doing and fulfilling your LinkedIn sharing goals. Then another important element is obviously to optimize your profile. We have a lot of articles on this, how to create a killer LinkedIn profile. I will add some more in the show notes of this video. And optimizing is also to think about your headline. So, what are the labels that you would like to associate yourself with? What kind of about section do you have? And, right now you can ask ChatGPT to write a compelling about section for you. That is better than something really boring. And sometimes you could also use that section to storytell, to write about, your why, your how, and your what, to explain why you ended up in your field or, why you are in another country right now. And maybe share some of your values and what is important to you at work. So a lot of the things we have already talked about. Then I really think with the upcoming fake news, AI-driven content, and with the politics that are now defining a lot of the social media, LinkedIn has luckily tried to stay a bit out of that. So make sure that when you share content, it's well researched and, as I said, balanced, but also that you check the sources. Where does it come from? Could it contain clickbait? Could it be something, where you want to share an article, but then immediately you have to pay to actually get access to the article, which is something I usually don't do. So if the content isn't free, I'm not going to share it on LinkedIn because that's, not in my interest. And then, as I mentioned, you have to comply with data protection, but also general etiquette. I mean, it's really helpful to be a little bit humble and not just boast about yourself, but also when you contact someone, make sure that you're not misusing their trust. So treat them like a person that you would meet at an event. And even better, connect with people that you met in the real world. And maybe wait with the LinkedIn connection until you met the person in person. You can always follow everyone on LinkedIn. Following is not dangerous. It is like saying, hey, I'm interested in what you have to say. And then, when you followed them for a while and you understand what they're about and what they're talking about, it might be a good idea to connect. And then a general principle that I like to see more of, unfortunately, I don't see a lot of that at all, is to give before you ask. Yeah, and to build up a trust account, to pay it forward, and to think about, okay, what can I do to be useful to other people? How can I support my community? And not just the me. Let's just take. Um, Unfortunately, this is not done very often. So a lot of people, for example, when you endorse them, they would endorse you back. Everybody sort of expects something from you before they're willing to give. But you stand out if you are different. So if you give and you're not expecting a return right away, that's what makes you stand out and what makes you special. Doing anything and sort of, going through the valley of tears.